Hello everyone, welcome back to the Backlog Bunker. This one's going to be kind of short because I just didn't really have much to talk about this week. The only game I really want to talk about is Metal Gear Solid 3, which I started replaying in preparation for my eventual Foxhound run. I am doing a run right now on Extreme just to get myself all the camos, and obviously to serve as practice for when I do the real thing. And for those who don't know, to get the Foxhound rank, you have to get through the whole game without ever triggering an alert. Plus a bunch of other bullshit, but for the sake of what I'm about to tell you, that's the most important part. Because, since this is, again, a practice for the actual run, anytime I trigger an alert, I just restart my save. And you might assume this would be annoying because every time I have to restart a save, it means I have to redo whatever I just did. And while yes, that's annoying, that's not the worst part. The worst part is that restarting a save in Metal Gear Solid 3 takes forever. First, you have to navigate all the way to exit to main menu in the options, which is not quick to get to because MGS3's menus are not very snappy. Then after that, the game takes you all the way back to the title screen, but on the title screen, you can't skip any of the company intros where it shows the Konami logo and the Kojima Productions logo, meaning you have to sit through those every single time. And then once you manage to get through those, to actually load your save file, you have to wait for the game to read all your save data first and be like, which takes way too long, given the fact that the Master Collection came out, 2 years ago? A little more than 2 years ago? And I get that the Master Collection is just a collection of ports from the 360 version, but if they can take the time to update the game now with a bunch of HD texture packs that you can download, they can take the time to make the loading screens a little faster. And speaking of remasters and ports, that brings us to the weekly topic, which is, how much should a remaster or a port really enhance the experience to make it, the same game, but still a better experience? Metal Gear Solid 3 is an example I go to a lot of better experience, but not a different one, because a lot of the buttons were remapped to make CQC not be tied to analog buttons, which don't exist anymore. In my original playthrough of Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence for the PS2, I went through the whole game without ever CQCing anybody, because I was trying to do a non-lethal playthrough, and because I was on a PS4 controller, every time I got someone in CQC, I instantly put them in a chokehold and then stabbed them in the throat. But now with the Master Collection, a lot of the controls are remapped to just be normal, and not bad. However, I can hear someone making the argument that the original controls are supposed to be the way Metal Gear Solid 3 is played. Very gently pressing the circle button is supposed to mimic actually having a knife to someone's throat, because if you press a little bit too hard, you might accidentally stab them when you don't want to. I think it's a better enhancement, someone else might think it's a different enhancement. I don't really have a definitive answer on which one's correct, because on the one hand, with Metal Gear Solid 3 in particular, of course, like I said, I like the new controls, but I might feel differently about a different game. I think a pretty uncontroversial enhancement would be the loading times being faster, like I mentioned earlier, but then again, uncontroversial doesn't exactly mean good. The new voice lines that were recorded for Sonic X Shadow Generations were, for the most part, pretty uncontroversial, but they're not good. Like, do I really care in the original generations that Tails and Classic Tails go, "We're traveling through time and space," as opposed to whatever they say in Sonic X Shadow? No, of course not. But what they replaced it with wasn't better. I don't even think it was good. And while yes, this is a little bit different from loading screens, the point that I'm trying to make is that uncontroversial does not translate to you should definitely do this. As always, this is just very case by case, with the general idea being make it as close to the original experience as possible. But people seem to not want to do that anyway, so maybe this is just falling on deaf ears. Anyway, I sure am excited for Danganronpa 2x2 and the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. They definitely won't be bad. I hope they won't be bad. They probably won't be bad. Well, Metal Gear might be bad, but Danganronpa I believe in, so it probably won't be bad. I hope. That's it, get out of here.